All right, so I finally made my decision on which of the pickups will be the NAO shop truck. And I'm going to show you which one that is and why I decided on that today. All right, so first of all, just to recap for people that haven't seen the first video, I have these three 109s here, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses for being a great shop truck for NAO. The green one is by far in the best condition. Unbelievably straight body panels, just a really nice original example. The 59 here is the rarest because it's an early 2, and those had all sorts of components that were different than even the later 2s and certainly the 2As. So, and it has all of those original parts. So this is by far the rarest and most original. And then we have the military truck, which is actually in the worst condition of all of them, but you know, there's just something about it that is intriguing because it is a military vehicle. So my decision is the NAO shop truck will be the military 109. And I tried not to overthink this decision too much. It's easy to really make pros and cons lists and stuff like that, but really when I initial just gut reaction was, I think I want the military truck because I've never owned a military vehicle before, and that's alluring to me. So I'm gonna go with my gut instinct, and I'm going to go with the military Land Rover. So the military truck is certainly not the nicest out of the three, but that is actually, in this case, one of its strengths, because I'm going to use this as a shop truck. I already have a restored Land Rover, my 110 NAO Expedition Package vehicle, and that vehicle has had all of its body panels stripped of bare aluminum. It's fully galvanized underneath. The drivetrain is all new. I already have that vehicle. What I really need is a truck that I can use more as a utilitarian vehicle. And I don't want to get caught up in making a vehicle like that perfect, even though it's my natural instinct to do so. I want to keep this truck just the bare minimum of what it needs in order to do what it needs to do. And what the truck really needs to do is just haul stuff around. And we have 2 other locations where we store Land Rover parts. We need to be able to run down to those places and throw a transmission in the back of this or throw an axle in the back of this. And I don't think I could bring myself to do that to a restored vehicle, and not even to the 59, which is just such a straight original vehicle. But with the military vehicle, I don't think I would have a problem with that. And that's something that it needs to do. And those locations are also not on paved roads. We need to be able to go through wet conditions, in some cases snow, drive through brush in one location to get to the parts. And I don't have a problem with doing that in the military vehicle. Also, occasionally I need to be able to winch things out, so I'll probably need to add a winch to it. I'll certainly need to add the plow to it because we do need to plow with the shop truck because we do get a lot of snow. And I'll use a nice light snow bear plow that I have on the Tacoma. It'll fit perfectly on the series. Another thing it needs to do is it definitely needs to serve as a vehicle that can go off-road occasionally. There's situations where we needed to transport equipment and supplies out to an archaeological dig, and I used the Tacoma to haul hay bales, sifter screens, shovels, all sorts of gear and equipment, and that Tacoma was loaded to its max. So this vehicle isn't going to be, you know, lightly loaded all the time. It will occasionally carry a load. In addition to being loaded, it needed to go off-road to get to the site where the dig was. So what's better than a 109 to go off-road carrying a large amount of equipment and gear? That's perfect. And yeah, also occasionally just picking something up, you know, that's out in a remote area or in the woods. People can jump in the back of this truck and I can transport them out to a spot that's remote to go hiking. There's just so many uses that I think I'll find for this pickup over a restored hardtop like my 110. I also want to say thank you to Dave from British Starters for selling me this truck. And selling me this truck for an excellent price. I really appreciate that. And I also want to just mention that His company, British Starters, sells the best starters for the Land Rover 2.25 liter engine, and those starters can be found on all NAO restored vehicles. And not that there's anything wrong with the original starters, but I have seen issues with the original starters where the spring gets really weak and the gear comes back and into the flywheel gear and chews up the gears. And that won't happen with a British Starters high torque starter for the series Land Rover. So if you're looking for a starter for your Land Rover, I highly recommend British Starters. I also want to say thank you to John Lee from Expedition Exchange, which is a expedition outfitting company based in California, for helping me kind of decide and get my priorities straight as far as what constitutes a real shop truck. The vehicle should have the look and feel of something that's used and utilitarian, not something that is too perfect. Okay, so we're gonna get this truck into the shop and start putting together a plan for how we're gonna build it. But in the meantime, I can't help but think about how I wanna actually accessorize it. In my Tacoma shop truck, there's stuff I keep in the truck all the time. A recovery kit, a tool kit, first aid kit, I keep gloves in there, binoculars actually, which come in handy. I have a whole list of stuff that just stays in the Tacoma, you know, an Nalgene water bottle. And if this is going to become the shop truck, that stuff is going to get transferred from the Tacoma to here. So I need to start thinking about how I want to, what gear I want to purchase for the military truck. It doesn't necessarily have to be brand new or rare or special gear. It just has to have kind of a professional feel to it. So the recovery kit doesn't need to be a brand new ARB recovery kit. It just needs to be gear that works. And I'll stash it in one of the boxes in the back of the bed, and it'll be there. It'll be useful and reliable. It doesn't necessarily need to be brand new. And that'll be kind of fun to go and scroll through eBay looking for some of this gear that will suit this truck. We all have seen photos of series trucks back before they became collector cars, when they were actually being used out in remote places, and all the gear and the way they're outfitted. You always see vehicles, they have the leaf spring bolted to the front bumper, the spare leaf spring, the jerry cans, all manners of mechanical winches, early electric winches used on these. And this is all stuff that I've always loved, just seeing how these vehicles were used in these real world situations. And this is my chance to draw a little bit from that spirit to infuse into this shop truck here. You know, as long as it has a professional real world look and it doesn't look too kind of too perfect or too contrived, I think I'll really enjoy this vehicle as a shop truck.